Have you heard of the carnivore diet? Let's talk about it. Hey guys, welcome to Adamimmune. Today I wanted to talk about a really interesting diet that I heard about recently, the carnivore diet, also known as the Zero Carb Diet. I would compare the carnivore diet to being a vegan. You completely cut out a whole group of foods just because you think it's gonna bring you better health. And honestly, you can. You honestly can. Yeah, when you go from the standard American diet to vegan or the carnivore diet, and yes, I put them in the same category. They have the same mentality. When you go from eating, McDonald's to anything, you're gonna see results. Most of these diets, they're not sustainable. But as you may have guessed, the carnivore diet is mainly eating just meat. And this isn't... I'm keto. You guys know I'm keto, as well as AIP. So I'm all for low-carb diets. But when you go from, low-carb to cutting out a whole nutrient, all the vitamins and minerals and nutrition you get from vegetables, that's not a smart idea. On the carnivore diet, you can eat meat, mostly steaks, eggs, butter, and cheese. So, okay, they had to add cheese in there because, honestly, I'm going to say they added cheese because they couldn't give it up. I mean, cheese is delicious, and yeah, who would want to? But, so you're going to give up all vegetables, but somehow you're okay with cheese. You're okay with dairy. But I guess it makes sense because it's derived from meat, or it's derived from animals, but at the same time it's processed. So I don't know. I wish they would decide one way or the other. But again, I looked into this, and they're okay with using plenty of salt and some spices, and most of them on the diet will also do coffee, things that are zero carb or very, very close to low carb. The reason I did this video is because a person commented on one of my videos asking me, have I ever tried the carnivore diet? And so this is I thought this would be a good subject. I did want to talk about this eventually, so maybe now's a good time. This is from Body Weighted. Hey Adam, have you considered trying the carnivore diet? It's AIP compliant without eggs and dairy. So it's not AIP compliant. So basically, if I was gonna be AIP compliant and the carnivore diet, I would not be able to eat eggs and dairy. So what am I just gonna eat? Just meat? I love how people say this, like, oh Adam, have you tried vegan? I mean, you can't eat grass-fed beef, but you can have that. Where am I going to get most of my nutrition from? Oh, okay, I digress. It might actually be better considering the issues people are having with plant foods in general. And which I would agree with, there are tons more issues with plant foods than there are meat-based diet, but mainly because most foods are vegetables, right? They're plant-based. Not necessarily vegetables, but plant-based, right? And that's why I don't do grains, I don't do dairy, nightshades, just tons of things. Obviously, I'm AIP compliant, so you know what that is. I hope you do by now, if you've seen any of my other videos. Okay, I wanted to tell you guys my reply because, I didn't put a lot of thought into it, but I thought this was pretty decent. I said, no dude, LOL. AIP is about eating nutrition, not just eliminating food triggers. A carnivore diet is impossible to do healthy in the long term. I got on Reddit and I was talking to people currently doing it, people that have been doing it a long time, and there was not a lot of success there. In fact, dare I say this, there was more success in the vegan community. And there's a whole lot more people vegan than there are carnivores. Maybe because this is a new idea, or maybe just because it's not sustainable at all. A lot of the people I talked to that were carnivore, now they're eating sweet potatoes and things like that. I mean, delicious foods. I mean, you don't have to overeat these things. You could be low carb. Okay, the point is you have to find your food triggers, and they could be meat, they could be different kinds of meat. It won't be just all meat, right? And what I would tell people mostly is, if you're having a hard time eating meat, eat grass-fed. And if you're having a hard time eating a lot of vegetable foods, you need to be on AIP. You need to be finding out your food triggers and doing a lot of trial and error, like I did. You got to do the work. So anyway, I went on to say, a carnivore diet is impossible to do healthy in the long term, a lot like other diets. I'm in complete remission and I've never felt better, which is true. I have never felt better. Honestly, this week, I'm feeling awesome, and I would contribute that to eating more raw leafy greens instead of steamed. I've been eating, you guys know I eat a ton of like steamed spinach, 3 to 7 pounds a week, but the last few weeks I've actually changed that to raw. So I've been eating a lot of salads, right? Not for every single meal, but I do like salad. But yeah, that's probably what it is. I mean, I feel pretty awesome, and I've probably been a slightly lower carb than I have for previous months. So maybe I should keep track a little bit closer so I can, you know, so you guys know where I'm at. But anyway, let me go on because this was kind of a long paragraph. Sorry about that. Yeah, cutting out vegetables isn't necessary for everyone. I'd also like to say that meat can trigger people, so going carnivore isn't the answer. It's not the only answer for everyone. It might work for some in the short term, but there are very few people that have done it successfully for more than a year or two. Even vegans have a better track record. Oh man, I bet he did not like that. I'm really sorry, Body Weighted. That was a low blow. I'll admit that was cold. It isn't a matter of cutting out all of a certain group of foods, exemption on dairy and grains. It's a matter of finding your own personal triggers and cutting them out for a long-term lifestyle that promotes good health. Thanks for the comment. I might make a video just on this subject as well. And I did. Here we are. You know, and this guy seems like a really nice guy. You know, if you take the time to comment, obviously I appreciate every comment. Even if I disagree with it, we don't all have to agree with everything. We can disagree. If you want to do the carnivore diet, do it. I'm not stopping you. In fact, if you do it, let me know your results. I would love to know, and I may even make a video about it. You know, maybe there's some secret that I don't know about. Maybe it's more about balance. He replied to that, I think you should try it. I disagree that veganism has a better track record. If you were stranded in nature, what will keep you alive longer? If you could only pick one, plants or animals. Modern civilization... Yeah, if I had to choose one, it would be a coconut. No. Modern civilization is what keeps vegans alive. You were curious enough to try AIP diet instead of taking medication. You were willing to risk being wrong for the sake of your own experience. This is true. I say try it just for your own frame of reference. At the moment, you're saying you won't simply because you believe that it's a bad idea. Many people would tell you that AIP is a bad idea, but it paid off. And yeah, I have been told AIP is a bad idea. Yeah, and I can laugh at that too. But honestly, do you really think being a carnivore is a good idea? I mean, just look at your teeth, man. We're omnivores. If you go off real science, our digestive system and our teeth and everything in our body suggests that we are true omnivores. I mean, we really can eat anything. Now, some of these foods, if we're eating them in excess, is probably what caused our autoimmune diseases in the first place. Refined sugar, possibly certain fats caused from vegetable oils, different things. There's a whole lot of ideas with leaky gut theories and all that. So I replied, I agree with this mostly, by the way. I do believe the meat in the diet is the most important part. I really do. I believe this. I think maybe a lot of people are going to be upset about this because, you know, they think maybe leafy greens and sweet potato and coconut, you know, all my loves, I love them, are maybe the most important part. But honestly, if I had to choose one food, he's right. I would choose meat. Grass-fed beef. I certainly could live on it longer than I could something else, but I couldn't live on it sustainably forever, and I wouldn't want to either. What kind of life would that be? You know, the argument that we live in a modern civilization, it's not really valid. Just because something is modern doesn't mean it's not good either. I'm not saying grains are bad because they're a modern thing. Not at all. I'm saying they're bad because they trigger me. You know, I know they're bad. I'm not even talking about GMOs or anything like that. But I'm going to talk about it sometime. Like, guys, we don't know everything. I just know how these foods affect my body and how maybe possibly other people could see improvement in their own health eating this way or something similar, or using the protocol that I set forth to find your own good health, because we all can't eat exactly the same and find the exact same great health. I hope you know this by now, but it's true. Let me go on. I keep digressing. And yes, I would choose meat over veg in a pinch, but thankfully we don't have to anymore. We can have the best of all worlds. And yes, I have found all my triggers. That was the most difficult and time-consuming thing I've ever done in my life, but it's what gave me back my health. And it's true. Anything worth having is worth working for. I will say I have gone some time on just meat, probably for weeks. I call this a meat fast. I don't know how scientific this is. I don't know if anybody else is doing this, but yeah, I have just eaten meat for like weeks, and well, let me tell you what I told him. Great for losing weight, but I never feel quite right without some carbs, even the small amount I eat every day. The body needs a balance of the right mix of macros, and it's different for everyone. Coconut would be a close second to my grass-fed beef, though. Duh. And maybe sweet potato after that. They're very nutrient dense. You got to get these foods in, and you're not going to get it on the meat-only diet. You're just not. Eventually, you're going to go across some problems. I don't care about the ancient diets. I care about how it affects our body and what we can do, right? I think that's the most important thing. Just because we were designed to eat a certain way doesn't mean we should, but we really should, right? So after that, he hasn't replied yet. Maybe he will soon, and you can probably check that out in the comment section of a video that I just did this week called, I think it was the most 10 nutrient dense foods or nutritious foods with 1 gram of carb or less, something like that. And that was a really great video on the article that my friend wrote. Really good. Check it out. But yeah, you can check out the comment section there. There's always, I don't want to say there's always debates there, but there's always inspiring stuff and just people saying great things. So I'm always reading them, and I'm always reading your questions, and if I don't get back to you in the comment section, if it's a great question, I might just make a video about it like this. In conclusion, I just want to say I'm not recommending the carnivore diet, but if you want to do it, you know, what's stopping you? Go ahead, you know. There's only one way to find out, right? You're not going to know unless you try it yourself. You don't have to listen to me, you don't have to listen to anybody else on the internet. You probably shouldn't. Do what feels right for you. Do what feels right. Do something, right? Because if you're trying a new diet, then you're doing something. You're not being a victim. You're not sitting around in your own head. You're actively trying to feel better. You're doing something for you, and that's the most important thing, I think. So all you omnivores out there, don't forget to drop a like, smash the subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave a comment in the comment section, because I will read it and I may respond. Also, I just wanted to let you know that I did start a Patreon. You can check that out in the description below. I'm not asking you to pay me for my services here, but if you feel like you want to do that, that's totally fine. I won't stop you, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.